Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we'll be having a fireside chat where we're going to be discussing the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club with Marine Staff Sergeant Daniel Rizzo. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And consider becoming a TLA patron. That's a Lost Arts patron. It's through donations that we're able to continue recording the podcast and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Just go to the Lost Art website and click on the Become a Patron link at the top. If becoming a TLA patron doesn't work for you and you would rather give a one-time donation, then go to the Lost Art website and scroll down until you see the donations link. Any donation is appreciated. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, then email me directly at thelostart@andrewcox@gmail.com. Again, that's thelostart@andrewcox@gmail.com. And last, we always have some merchandise. So if you want to go to our website, click that merchandise tab. We have cups, we have hats, we got shirts, we got all kinds of goodies that you can get. So just go there, click that tab, and you can help support what we have going on here with the podcast. All right, with that, I have Daniel Rizzo here. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. I know you've been busy. You're out on trips and doing different things right now. But you're taking time, carving out a little time to sit down and chat about this. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, of course. I know it was kind of a struggle to get together for a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a schedule.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to make them marry up, but we finally got it to work. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club. And now I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm sure that you do. It seems that you're, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the chapter president down where you are. Is that correct?
I am, yeah. I'm the president of the John McGinty chapter in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Very nice. All right. Can you give us kind of a little, maybe even go back to talk about motorcycle clubs in general, how they started, and then how specifically the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club came about?
Yeah, so motorcycle clubs in general actually started with a lot of military guys, especially after the World War II era. A lot of those guys wanted to come back. They didn't want to really get into the normal fold of working, following orders, all that stuff anymore. They wanted to continue being guys that did their own thing. They kind of wanted that adrenaline rush still. And so that's where a lot of clubs started from, was groups of guys that came back from World War II. And I mean, just very different times back then. Obviously, there were certain groups for certain individuals, and that caused other individuals to start their own club and go in different directions. Um, the original clubs were basically just kind of, they wanted to be like more modern day cowboys, and they did it on mostly Harley Davidsons, some Indians. Um, but yeah, it's always just been a culture of people who wanted to kind of do their own thing and kind of stand out from everybody else.
Yeah, and that the whole veteran thing as they were coming back from World War II, and you talked about they're kind of missing out on that adrenaline and things of that nature, and that's a big one. You know, you come back from being overseas and you've gone through all this other stuff, and you get those adrenaline highs and stuff. I could totally understand how they would want to. You know, and riding motorcycles, well, at least in my opinion, is some of that adrenaline rush that you get. At least it does for me. I can't speak for everyone, but I get an adrenaline rush out of it, so I can understand that completely.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends from being in the club, um, who that was one of the reasons why they started riding a motorcycle. A lot of guys didn't do it until they came into the Marine Corps. Some of them didn't even do it until they got out, and they missed the brotherhood is a big thing. I haven't had the opportunity in my time in the Marine Corps to deploy and get that experience. Some say I'm lucky, and I can see how some people would say that, but I also uh, I wish I had that extra level of like bond with my brothers.
Yeah.
But for a lot of them, that's what it is. And I mean, we have a lot of dudes who they served in a unit together in the Marine Corps. They got out, kept in contact, and now they're brothers in the Leathernecks too.
Yeah.
Guys that served together, some of them in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, a lot of guys from OIF, OEF.
Wow.
But I mean, we got Vietnam vets, Korea. Uh, we had we got a lot
Pretty
of
much,
history in our
pretty
club.
much everywhere. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Okay, so talk to me about the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club specifically. So when did that come about? How did that kind of get developed?
So it started as an idea in the mid '90s. There were five Marines who rode motorcycles. They wanted to, continue that bond and that commitment. They wanted to bring awareness to the POW, MIA, and keep that whole thing alive. Make sure people didn't forget that there's still people out there. There's still people missing. We want to bring everybody home. And so they met up and did the Rolling Thunder ride in Washington D.C. And that's kind of how the club got its origins, was from doing that ride. And the original five, I mean, they were spaced out all across the country, West Coast, East Coast, North, South. And it wasn't until 1999 that they had their first, what we refer to as our first national meeting, where they came together. They said, okay, we're for sure going to do this. It's going to be a motorcycle club. It started off as a riding club, which is a little bit different than a motorcycle club. Um,
So
but
real quick, what are some of those differences in the clubs? You said the riding club versus the motorcycle club. What is kind of the difference there?
so the biggest difference is with a riding club, you're more of just a group of friends who want to get together, like on weekends. You go for rides. Sometimes they wear a vest, sometimes they don't. But they don't really follow as strict protocols and bylaws, things like that. They're just a group of people who want to get together and go for a ride. As
Thanks.
far as the MCs, and the biggest way to tell the difference is most MCs, we call it the MC cube. You'll see it on their back patch. It'll have the very top will have the name of the club. The center patch is a logo for that particular club. It'll have an MC cube either on the bottom right or somewhere on that patch. And then for a lot of the bigger clubs, the ones that have been around for a long time, their bottom rocker will have their location. Um, and my particular organization, we don't do that because traditionally that was claiming your territory. That was saying, this is where we're from. This is our place. Nobody can take it from us, kind of thing.
Right.
But we uh, we are we refer to ourselves as a neutral club. Basically, we don't support anybody. We're not against anybody. We want to support everybody as long as they're doing cool stuff. As long as we get to hang out with our friends, ride motorcycles. We follow all the protocols we need to. We'll go up and shake hands. We'll pay our respects to whoever. But we don't support directly any one other organization. We basically just we want to do our own thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So with the Leatherneck Club, I know you guys being military, and I'm assuming the majority are probably Marines or maybe some sailors or something that's in there as well, or is it pretty much open to anybody at this point?
No, it's still basic requirement is you have to have served in the Marine Corps or as a Navy corpsman with a Fleet Marine Force pin or that qualification.
Right. Yeah.
Um, for for Marines, if we're on active duty still, we basically just have to we have to show them that we have an ID that states that we're active duty. Anybody that's gotten out of the Marine Corps, it either provides a retired ID or a DD 214 saying that you have served in the Marine Corps.
Okay. Very cool. So a lot of people, as they, there's always stuff on TV, and they always talk about motorcycle clubs, and it's always from I guess the negative aspect of that, the 1% or whatever. Uh, Now, your club isn't doing things like that, so I want to advertise for you guys and say that this is a club that you're not into all that type of stuff. It's a brotherhood. You want to, ride together and do stuff like that. And it's completely different. Or at least in my opinion. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Well, I mean, TV, especially nowadays, they'll take anything and put their own spin on it. There is a huge, you can almost call it an explosion from Sons of Anarchy as far as people, kind of wanting to live that lifestyle, but not understanding it. And so there ended up being a lot of, we call them pop-up clubs.
mhm.
People who were afraid or just didn't want to go to this club over here, but they were the only one in the area. So they decided to start their own club. So they got some patches made. Maybe they bought something on the internet. And it makes things really difficult, and it kind of takes away from the ones who are doing it the right way. The 1% status actually came from, and I'm drawing a blank on the year right now, but you can look it up. The Hollister riots. It was between two clubs, basically met up in Hollister, California. I think it was sort of like a bike week thing, and a fight broke out, and it turned into basically they ended up burning down the entire town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's actually really impressive. Like if you search the Hollister riots, the history there is pretty crazy.
Huh.
And for I know at least one of those clubs is still around. I think one of them went through a few changes since then. It was a long time ago. But from that, the American Motorcycle Association basically put out, I guess, a press release, for lack of a better term, saying 99% of motorcycle riders are law-abiding citizens and do not act this way.
Mhm.
And bikers being bikers, they said, well, I mean, we'll be that 1%. We don't want to follow your rules. We want to do our own thing. That's the whole reason we became bikers. And so that's where the term 1%er actually started from.
Wow. I'd never heard that before. That's really cool.
Yeah. And so that's where that term originated. And like through the years, it's taken on different meanings. I mean, even today, it means different things to different people depending on who you ask, what club you're talking to, what location that club is at. Because I mean, there are some clubs that are worldwide. They have thousands of members, different countries. I mean, they're just all over the place. But I mean, yeah, especially if people want to know history and stuff, the best thing to do is, just go out and find your local hole in the wall bar with a few Harleys sitting out front and see who's there and just strike up a conversation.
Yeah. So, is that if let's say I wanted to join one or something like that? Is it a I seek you out, or is it a you seek me out type of thing?
It is 100% you seek out the club. Um, you know, for the most part, the legit ones, the ones that, in my opinion, you would want to join, they they don't seek people out, because when you start recruiting, when you start running into issues, you start finding people that aren't really committed, so to speak. So I mean, if somebody was looking for a motorcycle club in general, um, I mean, you can look on social media. A lot of them, you search your area and a club that you think you might want to join. Um, Talk to your local Harley dealership, Indian dealership. Just look around, look for events. And I guarantee if there's a club in that area, they're going to be at those events, especially some of the bigger cities. But yeah, you just got to kind of go up to them, start a conversation, maybe, be respectful, obviously. A lot of clubs are basically we give what you get, or we give what we get. Is the term that a lot of them use. If you're disrespectful, if you come up and just start thinking that you start, I guess, giving shit and talking like we're best friends, but we don't know you, kind of thing.
Right.
It's all about respect in the motorcycle club community is the biggest thing. but yeah, I mean, you just gotta, every club has different rules for membership, like what qualifies you for that club.
Mhm.
And then from there, I mean, as long as you meet the requirements, then you can find out what their process is. And I mean, it'll differ between clubs and even between chapters. I know that the way I run my chapter could be different from the way what some of my brothers, even in the same state, might want to run their chapter.
Right.
So it all depends on where you're from and who's there.
Hmm. That's very interesting. Um, so I know that you and your chapter that you're at has done a lot of community service type of things, and I know that's a huge thing for, well, I guess Marine Corps in general. But stemming from the Marine Corps, you guys are kind of carrying that tradition on.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you guys are doing?
So specifically in our area, our main focus for the Beaufort area is the Child Abuse Prevention Association. It is a local nonprofit organization that is pretty much ran by mostly volunteers in the Beaufort area. And what they do is they help children that are in the system, help them kind of get into a better place. For some of them, they live in a house where they have a bed and a dresser and clothes all to themselves, which is something that a lot of them have never even experienced. And they try to give them a much better life than they might have gotten being in the system in foster care. And one of the reasons why we feel so strongly about that is because we had a brother, Huey. Tim Whitehead was a retired Mass Sergeant of, oh man, I'm going to get this wrong. I want to say it was 27 years, I believe, in the Marine Corps. Um, and when I mean like this dude was everybody's homie, like he loved everybody no matter what until you gave him a reason to not like you. Coolest dude could ever meet. I was only in the chapter with him for about a year, but that guy left an impression on me that I will never forget. And
Wow.
this organization, Kappa for short, is one that he felt very strongly about. Unfortunately, we lost Huey in 2021. Um, and so right after that, we did the first Huey's Kappa Classic, I think is what we called it. And it was basically sort of like a poker run where you register and we have like a deck of cards on the table. You pick up cards and that's added to your hand. So 5 stops, you get 5 cards.
Right.
Last year we did it a little bit different. My chapter was hosting our regional meeting, and so we did one big ride mostly for our guys. And then in the evening, we went to one of the local bars, Tailgaters. It's an awesome place. If anybody's visiting Beaufort, South Carolina, I highly recommend Tailgaters. This is an awesome place. They support us 100% in the cause. But we did raffle, raffled off a few guns. Each member brought in some like baskets to do sort of like a silent auction kind of thing. And last year we were able to donate $3,500 to Kappa in Huey's name.
Very
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and that's just what my chapter does. As a whole, nationally, every year we do a bike raffle, which is actually just started. It's going on now. So if anybody is interested, then please reach out to your local leathernecks and buy tickets. We have 2 bikes that are being raffled off this year. One of them I really want. It's an older Harley Davidson Softail. And I think the other one is one of the newer models that they have, the Enduro style Harley
Okay.
Davidson. Yeah, every year from that raffle, all of the proceeds that we make from that particular raffle go directly to the Semper Fi Fund.
Very nice.
So yeah, over the years it's grown immensely. Unfortunately, I missed the donation last year. I was in the hospital getting my collarbone fixed. Uh,
Hey.
I had a wreck on the way to the national meeting, but yeah, it's always a pretty good sized donation that we give to the Semper Fi Fund nationally.
Yeah, I was the podcast that I just did with the last fireside chat with the podcast crew. We talked about the Semper Fi Fund because we were discussing General Gray, and he just passed away, and apparently he was like the president of the Semper Fi Club for a while, or Semper Fi Fund for a while. Uh,
Okay.
but we were discussing that a little bit. So yeah, Semper Fi Fund is a fabulous organization. So that's really awesome. You guys are giving to that.
Yeah, and so that's the main thing that we try to do. I mean, every chapter and every place has a different event that they try to put on. When I was my first chapter that I was with when I came into the club was in California in San Diego, and it's just one of those areas that's just flooded with clubs. So there wasn't a whole lot for us to choose from, but we did make it a point to go out for, especially around Christmas time. Toys for Tots is a huge thing. So we made it a point to go. We were actually able to go to like 2 or 3 Toys for Tots events every year. Uh,
Nice.
and either you show up and you bring a cash donation that whoever the hosting club is can go and buy more toys, or you bring an unwrapped toy for a boy or a girl. And one year, one of the events that we went to, they had basically like an open trailer, like a dual axle trailer that normally you would move like a race car on or something like that, like a long
Right.
trailer. And I mean, this thing was piled with as many toys as you can possibly fit on it. And then they had more in the bed of the truck that was towing the trailer. And yeah,
Wow.
all of those toys were being brought to. I think one of their main stops that they went to was the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Um, handing out toys. That club would also give rides to some of the kids. They stick them on the back seat of the bikes and give them a ride around the
Wow.
parking lot. And yeah, I mean the stuff that motorcycle clubs are able to do for charities is actually it's incredible. Which is one of the reasons why I'm so proud to be part of an organization that does that. Um,
Yeah.
2 years ago, when we were providing our donation to the Kappa, some of the volunteers, they they were working on the Christmas piles, I guess is the only way I can describe it for some of the kids that are in the system. And they had it was the local Holiday Inn that we met them at, and it was one of their meeting rooms that's or almost like a ballroom, I guess is the best way I could describe it.
Right.
And they had rows of boxes set up that filled this entire room. Every kid was told to write down their top 3 Christmas wish list toys, basically. And every kid was guaranteed to get all 3 of those items plus another box full of Nerf guns. Some kids got bicycles, like mountain bikes. I mean, like nice bikes. Little girls were given all kinds of Barbie dolls and easy bake ovens were in there. I mean,
Wow.
it was incredible the amount of uh, the amount of children that they were able to provide like an awesome Christmas to. And so seeing that, which we had actually never seen before, we never caught them when they were working on something like that. So me and all the brothers that went down there were just blown away to actually see what we're donating to, which just it made us want to work even harder to be able to give even more and help as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, that's kind of near and dear to my heart personally, the foster care system and things like that. I adopted both of my girls from foster care, and but that whole system, those some of those kids, they literally have a suitcase of some clothes, and
Oh yeah.
sometimes not a suitcase, it's like a bag, and that's all they have. So they go to a family, and sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. So having organizations like you're talking about, being able to give to them and help them out during, those special times of the year that they really need it, right? Like Christmas, even before school, like having school clothes and things like that, very, very important. So I kudos to you guys, man. That's some great stuff that you're giving to.
Yeah, and that's another big time of the year for them is I mean they'll take some of the kids on a shopping spree and just tell them like go pick out some clothes, pick out your backpack, a lunchbox. If they have, they'll just go and they'll buy out like an entire section of Walmart to be able to give these kids pencils, markers, highlighters for the little kids' coloring books. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Like the women that volunteer their time to Kappa, I mean, they're doing the Lord's work. It's the best way I can think to describe it. I mean, it's incredible. I think once a week they put on like a cookout for the kids, where they all just, I mean, they get to be kids is one of like the biggest things too. Um, because it was like you were saying, like some of the children that are in the system, and they vary from age to, I think some of them are less than a year old. Sometimes these women get these kids, and sometimes, you know, they're 15, 16 years old. They're just in an unfortunate situation, and they need some help for at least a few years until they can, you know, become adults the way we see them, you know, 18 years old and off on their own. And yeah, the volunteers just, I mean, they put so much time and effort into these kids. It's incredible.
Yeah. I would say if anybody out there is like hearing this story and you're like, oh, well, that's a great thing or whatever. Obviously, yes, if you can help and donate and do those types of things, that's fantastic as well. But I can guarantee you across the country, every foster care agency that's out there is looking for foster parents, somebody to take children in, give them a good, excuse me, give them a good home, and really help support that type of thing. So if there's anybody out there, and it's and that's something it's almost got to be a calling, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not for everybody, so, but it's a great deal. I mean, if you get the opportunity to do that and you see some of these kids and the positive influence that you can have on them, it's a great thing.
Oh yeah. And it's actually something that I've looked into trying to volunteer some of my time a few times in the past. And you know, I spent a lot of time in California. We had the Boys and Girls Club of America, and try to volunteer for that. And it's just been unfortunate. I mean, you know exactly what my schedule can be like
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, for everybody out there, he's in the band, so he gets tasked with going all over the country and playing and all kinds of stuff like that. So it can get a little hectic.
Yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate that for at least for my end, you know, they want somebody who has a pretty set schedule, who can, you know,
Mhm.
be there when they need them, like consistently do what they need. And there probably have been some times where I could, you know, volunteer a little bit here and there, but it wasn't something that I wanted to try to commit to 100% just because, you know, sometimes we have no idea where we're going to be. 2 weeks ago, I was in the Northeast up in Massachusetts, hit a couple states in that area. This week, I told you I'm sitting in a hotel room in Tennessee. And in a couple more days, I'm going to be in Virginia. Uh, so, but hopefully by the end of the year, depending on how things work out for my career, I'll be able to volunteer a little bit more time.
Very nice.
So it's something that I've always been wanting to do. One of the reasons why I'm hoping things work out for me uh, as far as the possible medical retirement that I'm looking at right now is I still plan on working because you know I can't sit still. I could never do a desk job. I hate it. But I want to have a job where it's more of a hobby that I can get paid for and something that gives me time to go volunteer my time and help out with certain things like this. And you know, like I said, Kappa has become something that I feel very strongly about now. Being in the Beaufort area and just putting as much of my efforts as I can into something like that, it just it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great organization, it sounds like. And kudos to them for doing what they're doing. I mean, like I said, it takes some special people to be able to do that a lot of times, but sounds like that's a great group of individuals doing it.
Oh yeah.
Um, so let's talk a little bit more about the motorcycle club itself. And what are some of the benefits that you see being part of that club? I know you guys get to do this type of thing to give back to the community, but what do you really see in the benefits for the individuals in the club itself?
I can tell you from all the guys that I've heard come into the club, the biggest thing is the brotherhood. Marines are we're a special case, I guess is the best way to put it. We think we are the best. Anytime we walk into a room, we know that our shit doesn't stink. And I can't like, there's no language restrictions on this, right?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, good. I've been trying to censor myself this whole time, which is why I might be talking a little slow. But I mean, we're from day one, we're told by our drill instructors that Marines are the best of the best, no matter what. There's no questions asked. We put on that just blue uniform and nobody can touch us. And when people have gotten out of the Marine Corps, they transition into civilian life, whether it be retirement or they just, they do your 4 years and get out. A lot of them regret it. Honestly, like there is no better word for it. There's a lot of them, they miss the brotherhood, they miss the commitment, being able to talk about things the way we talk about. Sometimes we have a very fucked up sense of humor, and some people just don't understand that. I mean, we're told to do something and we respond with kill. That's not something you can use in an office. Yeah, I mean, for us, it's like, yes, I understand the task that you just gave me, and I'm going to go do this task. But you say that to a civilian, and then they might kind of look at you funny. And so that's the thing that I hear from a lot of guys is, they're coming, they found this organization they saw us riding down the road, they saw us at an event here somewhere, they just started talking to somebody, and they're looking for like that sense of brotherhood again. And that's something that I've been able to lean on through my time in this club. In September of this year, I'll hit 10 years with the leatherneck MC.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
Now, obviously, I mean, you're saying you're still active duty, so that a lot of times, active duty personnel are a little scared or a little shy to maybe join a club, but this is a great club to be able to join while you're active duty.
oh yeah. The only thing that kind of sucks about it sometimes is that I'll miss out on some stuff because I got to work. I can't just put in for time off, and it's either I get paid for the time off or I don't get paid for the time off. It's literally, hey guys, can I take this time off? And like, no, you need to do this instead. You're like, well, damn. Like, and I'll call the guys and be like, sorry guys, I can't come out and play today. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it sucks, but I mean, that's the cool thing about being in an organization like this is if I tell people like I got shit going on, I got to work, they all know because they've all been active duty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we do have some reservists here and there, but for the most part, I mean, everybody has spent time on active duty at one point or another, and they completely understand how stupid things can get sometimes. Uh, I mean, no matter where you go, there's going to be complaints about stuff, but sometimes you can't complain to people that you work with about work, and you need to have somebody on the outside who will understand what's going on at work and be able to understand our acronyms. The amount of acronyms we have to know for the military is unreal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so I mean, just having that group of dudes to fall back on is just it's awesome. And
yeah.
I mean, you look around any one of the major Marine Corps bases across the country, and I guarantee there is a chapter of Leathernecks that is close by.
Yeah.
I was probably 15 minutes before I got on here with you. I was texting with one of my brothers that lives here where I'm at. He actually, I think I can see his work from my hotel room.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and I mean, we were gonna meet up and hang out for a little bit, but unfortunately, he's got to work, and I got some other stuff that I got to take care of while we're here. So the hours don't line up. But yeah, I mean, all across the country, we got brothers, and it's a good network to know. We look out for each other no matter what. I've had some brothers go out of their way uh, to the extreme to help me out when I needed it. And I've had some brothers that literally helped save my life, just being there for me and listening to the things that I had to say and what I was going through. It's just, I mean, it's an incredible organization of guys. Uh, and for the
Yeah.
most part, I mean, like, especially with my chapter, I tell them all the time, like, even if it wasn't for the club, there's just a group of dudes that I would want to hang out with.
Yeah.
We can get together. It doesn't have to, we don't even have to like ride our motorcycle somewhere, because sometimes when the weather sucks, you don't want to ride.
I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell people all the time, like if you show me a motorcycle rider who absolutely loves riding through the rain, riding when it's 30 degrees out and riding through the snow, I will show you a liar. Nobody loves it. We'll do it. Sometimes we do it just so people don't talk shit about us, and give a shit for not riding. But sometimes we just want to meet up and go hang out somewhere and not do motorcycle stuff, because we're just really good friends. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I mean, so it's cool to have that, especially for me, kind of in like a waiting period to see what's going to happen with my career in the next few months, knowing that I could be getting out. I have those guys to talk to and just kind of like work through it. I don't have to worry about missing out on anything because I
Yeah.
mean we break each other's balls just like I do with some of the guys that I work with.
Mhm.
The amount of shit talking is never ending.
As it should be.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I got to tell you, like, I've been doing these podcasts about veterans and having them tell stories and all this stuff, right? And probably one of the number one things that veterans have a hard time with is not having that camaraderie that they had while they were in. And we take it for granted when we're in, I think. And then, all of a sudden we're out, we're on our own and we don't have that anymore. And like you're saying, we have a weird sense of humor. This, what we think is funny, the majority of people don't really think it's funny.
Oh yeah.
But and having that sense of camaraderie is important. And I've been pushing organizations like VFW and then the Marine Corps League and then all these types of veteran organizations. But I think the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club is a fantastic way. That's people that at least for Marines, right? That's people that and you're familiar with, and you guys can speak the same language. So I think this is a great opportunity for people that, and especially if they love to ride motorcycles, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you love to ride motorcycles, we'll give you a reason to ride your motorcycle. I mean, one of the rides that I did when I was in California, I was told that we had this super important meeting that we had to go to in Vegas. We had just stood up our Las Vegas chapter. And so like the word was put out, anybody who's available needs to go to this meeting. Well, I mean, it's the Leathernecks also have their similarities to the way like shit can happen in the Marine Corps because like the sergeant major says one thing, and by the time it gets down to like the NCOs or even the junior Marines, that word has completely changed,
Yeah.
or the timeline has been pushed up to like 3 hours from where it started. But basically, so I was in our San Diego chapter of the Leathernecks out there. I left my apartment at 05. We rolled into Las Vegas sometime in the mid afternoon. I can't really remember because I was so cold. Uh, Stayed there for a little bit. Once we rolled into Vegas, is when I found out from one of our state officers that it was just supposed to be like a get together for some of the like state and region officers to figure out some stuff, and I didn't even need to be there. And
But
so,
you enjoyed a cold ride
oh
all the way
yeah,
to San Diego. Yeah.
oh yeah. So, well, enjoyed is a that's a stretch. But yeah, I
You
mean,
went on a ride.
yeah, I definitely went on a ride. In between, like meeting up with brothers along the way, stopping for gas, smoke breaks, things like that, for about think it was somewhere around like 7, 8 hours of travel time for 2.5 hours of drinking in the uh, what is it? I think the Leatherneck Lounge in Las Vegas, to then just get right back on the bikes and ride straight back to San Diego.
Wow.
Uh, it, when I say that nobody really enjoys riding in the cold, we froze. At the time, the bike that I had didn't really have saddlebags that could hold a lot of stuff, so I dressed light, counting on that California sun to come out and kind of heat everything up a little bit. Uh, well, it never did. Uh, so I believe it got up to like the low 50s on that ride.
Ooh.
Yeah, very brisk. Um, and that was also the ride that I decided that I needed a motorcycle that I could put a windshield on to break the wind a little bit, and something that could definitely hold a lot more layers for when I needed them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the bike I was on, I don't know if you ever saw it. It was my Wine Glide,
I
the
believe
bike that
it.
I
Yeah.
had. Yeah, so that's the bike I did that ride on.
Oh.
And
And
yeah,
there was no stop in the wind. I mean, you're
oh, absolutely
basically,
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
like I mean, that bike, I loved that bike. It looked cool, but I mean, 16-inch ape hangers, cruising down the highway in 50 degrees, like there's nothing stopping the wind. And I then so that's when I got my Road King.
Yeah.
And just the giant headlight that was on that bike made a huge difference. And now I can pack all kinds of stuff in that bike.
You can pack a tent. You can do all kinds of stuff now, man.
Oh yeah, I've taken that bike from San Diego to Nashville and back.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Good trip.
and I mean that's another perfect instance of where like my brothers were willing to help me out no matter what the cost was. So we had a brother graduated from recruiter school on MCRD San Diego on like Wednesday afternoon. Uh, Myself, that brother, and one other one we met up in Temecula, and we took off that afternoon, and just went until we were basically tired and ready to call it quits for the night. The next day, we got about 50 miles east of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and one of the connectors for the electronic throttle control on my bike broke just randomly going down the
Yeah.
highway. And so we spent probably like 45 minutes to an hour trying to see if we could figure out what was going on just on the side of the road.
Right.
I finally called a tow, got myself back to the Albuquerque Harley Davidson to drop the bike off just in time for them to close. Uh, was thankfully able to get a rental and just start like hopping on that bike. And the brothers had to go because one
Yeah.
of them, he was getting ready to transfer. That was our national meeting that year, so one of them had to be there because of his position within the club. So I just told him, I was like, hey, if I can get a rental, I'll meet you guys sometime tomorrow. Because the goal was to get to Oklahoma City that day.
Yeah.
And so they took off. I got a rental. I made it as far as Amarillo, Texas. And I can just remember seeing the lightning in the distance through the clouds and just thinking, well, I got to stop for gas soon. Hopefully it'll hold off until then. And man, like I'd say probably 5 miles from the exit, it just started torrential downpour on me. Like it was incredible. So I went to a gas station, decided it was probably best because it was around 11:30 midnight. It's
Yeah.
probably best just to like hang out for the night, get a hotel room, get some sleep, and then I'll catch up with the guys in the morning because I still had another like 4 hours to go.
Yeah.
So I sent them a message like, "Hey guys, I'm stopping for the night. Send me your location. I'll meet you in the morning." Uh, so that's when I looked up and realized that I had 4 more hours to go to catch up to them. Pulled into a hotel. Thankfully, they were willing to let me park my bike under the awning so that it didn't get soaked all night. Woke up at 4 o'clock, started riding into Oklahoma City, met up with those guys, and we were in Nashville by like mid afternoon that day.
Yeah. That's a
Uh,
long haul, man.
it was. It was already a tough ride. Turned tougher by my bike breaking down.
Yeah.
Turned out to be something so stupid. It was just the connections, just for right behind my air cleaner. Just a pin
Wow.
connector. That's all it was. But I went from doing 80 cruising on the highway to my bike was in limp mode, just doing 15 miles an hour, trying to just make it over to the shoulder.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, but I mean, those brothers were there for me. Like they were willing to like hang out. We had a toolkit. We were trying to figure it out. There was another instance where the same bike, you might notice a pattern. Um, I had left a day early from the rest of my chapter because somehow I was able to get enough leave, and we were going uh, somewhere. I think it was like somewhere in Tennessee. Um, and I got to man, it was somewhere in Georgia off of 16. I can't remember, but I was about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from home, and the bike started overheating, just acting real weird. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Uh, and basically, the bike just broke down on me,
Mhm.
middle of nowhere. I started calling people, trying to figure out like what it could be, if it's something I could fix. The nearest Harley Davidson was like 75 miles from where I was.
Whew.
So yeah, like I wish I could remember the town that I was in. Macon, I think. Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was nothing really there. And so I called one of my brothers that I knew was in one of the closer chapters in Georgia, and they had a prospect that was pretty much the only person in the area that could come get me. And this prospect left work, drove 45 minutes to his house to get some of the stuff he thought he would need in order to load my bike up. Then drove an hour to his buddy's house to get his trailer that he had lent out to drive another 45 minutes to me. So this prospective member, basically, um, he drove hours out of his way to come get me. We loaded the bike up, and he brought me, I want to say it was like an hour and 45 minutes back to my house. And as soon as we got the bike off, you know, I put it in the garage. He was rolling up his ratchet straps, and I was like, "Hey, man, do you got like PayPal or Zelle or anything that I can send you some money at least for gas or whatever?" Because I mean, he was driving like a F-250, so
Nope.
it's not like he was getting great gas mileage.
Yeah.
And he told me, "Don't even worry about it." And I was like, "Dude, I don't have any cash to like give you like how can I make this up to you?" He's like, "Seriously, don't worry about it." And got in his truck and just took off. And
Wow.
I mean, just he he really like he wasn't a brother, and so like it wasn't even expected for him to go that far out of his way.
Yeah.
But the fact that he did, and he is now um, the awesome brother, Squirrely D. If somehow you're listening to this, I love that dude. Uh, I still owe him more drinks. I met up with him in Savannah shortly after he got patched in, and I think I bought him a couple rounds. But I mean, it's that kind of thing uh, is why I love being in the leathernecks and having the guys that have my back. And I mean, I would do the same thing for any one of them. You know, if somebody called me, if they were in the area, they needed help moving or something like that. If anybody, you know, if they were just passing through, and they needed a place to stay, I got a couch, I got a spare bedroom, like whatever. Uh, I know that my brothers will have my back no matter what, and I got them.
Yeah, I got to be honest. You know, the Marine Corps. Don't get me wrong, Marine Corps is great, and we have some great bonds and stuff like that. But there is something different about a motorcycle club and how you guys have each other's back. It is absolutely incredible, and I've seen it on numerous occasions. Excuse me, I know some guys that are in motorcycle clubs or whatever, and man, like you're saying, they'll go out of their way to help you out. In fact, they'll go out of their way to help out their buddies' friends. You know, a
Oh
guy I
yeah,
know in the club, you know, I asked him, "Hey, can you help me out with my motorcycle?" You know, I had that one with the sidecar and something had come loose and I just needed to weld it back on. And I asked him, he's like, yeah, absolutely. So one of his buddies that was in the club with him, he had all the equipment in the place. And I went in, I did it all up, and they helped me out. And I'm like, okay, how much do I owe you guys? And they're like, no, you're good, man. And I'm like, I'm not part of your club, dude. Like, let me pay you something. No, no. I was like, let me take you to lunch or something. So I did. I got to take him to lunch, which was nice. But yeah, there's definitely a brotherhood there. There's a bond that even beyond the Marine Corps, I think bond. And how much we look out for one another. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's why, uh, like I said, like every chapter is different as far as like how to become a member, and like every club is different, like as far as what they take. But part of the reason why we have the indoc, so to speak, the way it is because we want to know, like, if you're becoming a member of this club, there's a reason why we call each other brother. The guys that I'm in my chapter in Beaufort, South Carolina, and even some of the dudes that I got across the country. Um, I call them my brother. Like I love them like they're my family. I will 100% go out of my way to help them at any time. And that's why there's uh, for the majority of clubs, basically when you first come around, you're kind of like a guest. Like you meet them. Um, they know you. They know that you're interested. They know some of your background, whatever. And then you become a hang around. And that's more of like we'll reach out and be like, hey man, just so you know, like we got this ride going on. You want to come along? That's great. Show up. If not, whatever. And then if once you get past that hang around phase, you have to express interest in the club. You have to say, this is something that I am interested in, and different clubs, different chapters have different ways of knowing that somebody has interest in it. One of the things that I've told you guys in the past, they show up because they when they first start hanging around, they've got their vests, they've got their like I served in the Marine Corps, like they got patches that they bought, like at a Harley Davidson, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, man, you want to show that you want to be part of something, then like take all that stuff off your cut and just show that it's you're open basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the prospecting phase, it's different for different people, for different clubs. The amount of time it takes, the things that you're required to do, uh, is different for everybody. But the whole purpose behind all of that is to see, like, okay, you say you're willing to do everything. How far are you actually willing to go to? Like, how much can we rely on you? Like,
Right.
can
Yeah.
you show us that like we consider this a lifelong commitment? Like nothing about this is supposed to be like, well, I need this right now, but maybe I won't in the future. If I leave this area, I'm gonna go to a different place, and maybe my ride to meet up with the brothers is a little bit longer, so now I don't want to do it. It's a motorcycle club. You're
Mm-hmm.
expected to ride your motorcycle is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so like that's why like I know for a fact that the guys that I ride with specifically in my chapter have my back no matter what. Uh, and some people might not ever actually need to experience that, which good on them. I wish I had that kind of luck. uh, I have had less luck where I needed some help from the brothers, and a few times it's been a tow. I needed to, borrow something, needed some help on the bike. And then like every chapter has guys that are uh, they have something to bring to the table, basically.
Yeah.
Um, One of my guys works in pretty much the only motorcycle shop we have in Beaufort. And so if I got a question about my bike, he's the first person I reach out to. Like, hey man, do you think this is something that I can do in my garage? Are you willing to come over? I'll buy you a couple, like a case of beer or whatever. Or is this something that I need to bring to the shop? I'm like, you guys need to actually like diagnose. Another one of our guys works in a diesel performance shop. And so, if I got questions about my truck, I know I can hit him up and be like, hey, man, what do you think about this? My truck's doing something weird. Thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with my truck yet. But, if it comes down to it, I got it. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's a huge network of people that I can call up, and if I need something, I know that there will be somebody there. And it's lifelong friendships. The guys that I was with in California, I might not talk to them as often as we might like, but I know that when we get together, when I see them again, uh, when like we hit each other up over text, it's like I never left.
Yeah.
Uh, I still love those guys. And actually, my brother that got me into the leathernecks was somebody that was in my company when I was on MCRD San Diego. Uh,
Okay.
and at the time, he was in riding club and RC. He rode Harleys. I was a young dude, so Hondas, like sport bikes until I die, man. Until my knees can't take it, because Harleys were old man bikes.
That's
Um,
right.
and I was Yeah, and I was with a riding club out there. And at the time, I didn't know it, but they were very fresh. I didn't understand the difference between motorcycle clubs and RCs, so it was something cool for a while. I ended up parting ways with those guys because of communication issues, I guess is the easiest way I can put it. And when I did get my first Harley, I reached out to this dude, Nate Reap. His real name is Goat. My best friend all time. I love that dude, and if he's listening to this, then I hope he knows that I'll tell everybody. I love that guy. Um, but I reached out to him, and he was already in Florida. We hadn't spoken in years. I think I was at Pendleton by now. He had been out of the Marine Corps for a long time, and just told him, I was like, "Hey man, I know you had a Harley. You were riding with some people while you were out here in San Diego. Like, who should I contact? I want to join like an actual club. I want to see what it's about." And he straight up told me, like, the guys that I was with when I was out there, you don't want to deal with them. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about that. And he's like, I'm prospecting with this club now. I'm in Florida. Here's the website. If you send your information, I guarantee there's somebody in San Diego. They'll reach out to you and like they'll ask you some questions and figure out what's going on. And so that was it. Like, he sent me the website. I found the guys. I ended up going through the whole hang around prospect phase, and I got patched in. And I had posted something, I think, on social media. I think, oh, we say LFFL, so leathernecks forever, forever leathernecks, leatherneck until you die, basically. And he had seen that I put that on social media, and he reached out and he's like, "Hey man, what does LFFL mean?" And I was like, "Dude, it's leathernecks forever, forever leathernecks. Like, what are you talking about? I know you know what this means." And because like after he told me like who to reach out to, we just didn't talk for a while. And he's like, no shit. So he had patched in a few months before me. So he's actually coming up on his anniversary here in a couple months. But then when I got orders to the school in Virginia, I knew he was somewhere in the Virginia area. And I was like, hey, man, how far is Little Creek from where you live? He's like, man, it's 20 minutes. And I was like, that's awesome. I was like, I got orders to Little Creek. I'll be there in January. And he was like, oh, hell yeah. And we reconnected. Uh, it was early 2020, so as much riding and shenanigans as we could get into for the first 2 months that I was there, we did.
Yeah.
And then after that, kind of put things on hold for a little bit. Thankfully, I had my birthday after everything got shut down and I wasn't allowed to leave the base. And his old lady like made like homemade dinner for me. And they
Nice.
brought it to me at the barracks. And that was awesome. And they kept checking on me, seeing if I needed anything, just reaching out. And then finally, when it was lifted, we were going all over the place, all over Virginia Beach. We went up to Richmond, like anywhere we could go on a ride, we went.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But like the first time I went over to his house, I'm like, man, this might be a little weird. Like, I haven't seen them in a long time. But it was like, it was just like it was 2012 again. Uh, and nothing had changed.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. And yeah, and now he's actually in the chapter that I started my journey in Leatherneck in San Diego.
Oh, he's back out there now, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. I got to be honest, man. I think it's a great thing. I think it's wonderful. What would be some advice that you would give anybody that's looking for something like this? What types of things would you tell those guys?
Biggest thing, I mean, is do your research, get to know the people that you're reaching out to. If being in a motorcycle club is something that you think interests you, um, do a Google search, do a YouTube search. I mean, just see what's out there. That's one of just from people not doing research is one of the reasons why we had like pop-up clubs, like I mentioned before. Like, uh, you might be looking for a group of dudes who served as Marines and we did this one thing, and poof, here we are. Uh, you might be looking for a group of dudes who have all the free time in the world and want to put in like 1,000-mile rides every weekend. I guarantee they're out there. So I mean, just do some research. Just figure out first what exactly it is you're looking for, and then just look around. I mean, if you find a club in your area and it's not exactly what you're looking for, I mean, they'll tell you. I mean, we'll be brutally honest with you. Um, if if you're looking for something that maybe we think doesn't fit in with us, we'll tell you like, hey man, there's this other club in the area, and they do what sounds like you're looking for. And like we'll try to put you in contact with somebody, just because somebody comes up to me and they might not be a good fit for the Leathernecks, or I mean, they could be like a cool dude who served in the military, but it wasn't the Marines, or they're not an FMF corpsman. I know a bunch of dudes who served in the military. They got a club in the area, and they're just cool dudes. I love hanging out with them.
Yeah,
And I'll point you in their direction. I mean, that happened when I was in California. This dude, one of the coolest guys I ever met. His name was Eddie. He rode the shit out of his bike. He was down to hang out with us whenever we had something going on. He was always at the brother's house when we were drinking in the garage. But unfortunately, he never served in the Marine Corps, so it wasn't like we couldn't bring him in.
yeah,
Um, but we put him in contact with a group of good dudes that we knew in the area, um, and now he's with their club out in California, and I see his stuff on social media every once in a while.
yeah. That's a good deal. Yeah, I got to be honest, man. I knew a little bit about your club before, but now knowing some of the things that I know after talking to you, uh, what you guys do is fantastic. Carrying on the traditions of the Marine Corps, and that camaraderie and things like that, and going even further into that, which is incredible. But the what you give back to the community and how you guys actually try to help out and what's going on is an absolute great thing. And kudos to you guys, man. You guys are freaking rocking.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I mean honestly, it's pretty much every motorcycle club out there, man. Unfortunately, there are some unfortunate circumstances that make their way into the news, and there's a lot of unpopular opinions about certain groups. But I can say that I've met a lot of people in a lot of different motorcycle clubs of various backgrounds. And one of the big things is like they do charity work, man, like all over. Um, it's usually the motorcycle clubs that are doing a lot for like Toys for Tots every year,
Yeah,
or finding the homes with kids that are just in an unfortunate situation. Or there's even been one that was telling me how they went to one of the children's hospitals in the area,
yeah,
uh, and the kids who were able to, who got clearance from their doctors and nurses, hopped on the back of a Harley and went around the parking lot of the hospital. um, it's unfortunate that there's a stigma of you see a person on a Harley Davidson wearing a vest with some patches on it that's got a bunch of tattoos, and they're a criminal. Um, and I mean, even like our center patch is the eagle who up an anchor.
yeah,
Like we are the original Leathernecks MC. No matter where you see it, we are the original. And even people who know exactly what that eagle who up an anchor, what that stands for, I mean, they see me walking around, like going into a gas station. Man, I even had somebody tell me one time, until they saw the Eagle Globe and Anchor on the back of our cuts, the dude was like, "Shit, man, I was terrified that you guys were coming in here to like start some shit. And I was like, no, man, I just want a monster and like a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just because you see somebody, I mean, like thank God the Marine Corps changed their policy. It was, I mean, one of the greatest days of my life. And I mean, I got tattoos like all over the place. But I mean, one of the biggest ones that you can see on my forearm is the blue diamond.
Smart div.
But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
spent
I
six
know.
years.
I'm there. Oh, sorry. I got to show it.
Yeah,
It's hard to see. Anyway, it's the drum, right? And it's got the
yeah,
first division thing.
yeah. I saw that when I came up to Virginia for your retirement. That's a badass
Yeah.
tattoo. But yeah, I mean, like some of the best times I've had in the Marine Corps with the First Marine Division. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know what that means. They just see that I'm a dude on a Harley with a bunch of tattoos, and they think I'm like some hoodlum, like here to start shit. When actually, like I'm here to just hang out with some kids and put a smile on their face.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. There's two things that pop in my mind. One is the Marine security guard. He's in his dress blues and he's giving presents. And the kid comes up and is like, yeah, thinks he's Santa or whatever, and he's trying to give him that, and he takes it and he holds on to it. Right. That's the first thing that pops into my mind. And the second thing is, as you're talking about the different as you see these motorcycle guys, right? And they got the tattoos and all this other stuff. And I wish I could remember what commercial it was, but there was another commercial where it's like a big bad dude, right? But he was doing such a, a, a wonderful thing for such a small individual, right? And,
Yeah,
uh, and that's really what I see, or what I think of when I think of the Leathernecks Club, for sure. So,
yeah. I mean,
awesome.
I mean, like when you see a biker, it doesn't mean that we're like just nomads with nothing. We're just like sleeping against our bike on the side of the road somewhere. Like a lot of the brothers that I have, some of them are doctors, some of them are lawyers. A lot of them are still active duty Marines. Like we're still serving the country, in all different kinds of capacities. Some of them, I mean, have seen more action and done, I guess we call Marine Corps things than others.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I catch all the shit for being in the band.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Yeah.
yeah, all of the band geek jokes that you can possibly think of, I've heard them all. Uh, every time I meet a new, like, I go to like some new location, I meet like a chapter of guys that like maybe I haven't seen before, I haven't seen in a while. It's the same jokes. I get the same ones, but I mean, we still like we all have that common bond. And I mean, we have guys who they're fathers, sons, uncles, grandfathers, great grandfathers. And for the most part, all we want to do is be able to just ride our motorcycles and hang out with our friends. I always tell people like one of the biggest reasons why I love the club that I'm in is because we're a neutral club. I can go to one state and hang out with this group of people with our chapter here. I can go to this state and hang out with another group of people from with my chapter here.
Mhm.
And if I just want to stay home in Beaufort, and I could just go do hood rat shit with my friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it, man. I think, and to be honest, there's a stigma whenever, we talked about that, but there's that stigma of what a motorcycle club is. And I think through this podcast, at least, and anybody that's listening will see that that's not necessarily the truth. And, being able to highlight the great things that your organization is doing, the great things that come from the potential of a motorcycle club, I think is a fantastic thing. So, I tell people, if you're out there and you want to freaking join a club, man, Leathernecks Motorcycle Club, as long as you were a Marine or a Navy corpsman, served, what was it, served as a
Fleet Marine Force.
Fleet Marine Force. There you go.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go, man. That's a club to reach out to, and it sounds like they've got a brotherhood that can't be beat, in my opinion. But yeah,
I mean, like I said, if you find us, and maybe it's not the fit for you, I guarantee my brothers will help somebody find their spot, whatever that may be.
yeah,
I There isn't a single person that I have met so far in the Leathernecks that is not willing to just, shoot the shit with somebody, no matter who they are, where they've been, whether or not they serve, it doesn't matter. Like you want to have a conversation, just come up to us. Like we'll talk. I have no issues with it. I've had people come up to me and like tell me, I wanted to see like what you guys were doing, like talk to you like 30 minutes ago. And, like people who served in the Marine Corps even.
Really?
Yeah, I've had guys come up to me and they're like, "Hey man, like I served. I wasn't sure if like I could come up and like talk to you guys." And I was like, "Why not?" He's like, "Well, I saw the vest. You guys are bikers." I'm like, "So what, man? We're all Marines." Like, I'm still active duty. I was like, "What do you do? Where you work?" They're like, "Well, I work over here." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, man! Like, I work over here." And they're like, "Oh shit." Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
it's unfortunate that there's been there's been a lot of situations that get out in the media, and like certain people have painted a bad picture in certain instances, I guess is the most general and best way I could put it. But for the most part, I mean, if you see bikers out in town, just walk up to them, ask them how it's going. If you see me and my brothers, like thank them for their service. I accept it on behalf of my brothers that I know have done some incredible shit on deployments and stuff overseas. I love listening to those stories. I mean, even yourself, you deployed, and I serve exactly how I can and how the Marine Corps allows me to. But yeah, man, I mean, just you see bikers, I guarantee most of the time you see us in a bar, we're probably friendlier than most of the people that are in that bar.
I would agree with that statement. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I know you as an individual too, but I've known other and within other organizations, biker organizations and stuff. Man, that everyone I've talked to, they're very friendly. They're very nice. I've not had any issues, and I agree with you, man. Walk up and say something. Say hi. Worst thing I can do is say, "Nah, I don't want to talk to you." Okay, well, nothing
Yeah.
lost. Walk
Yeah.
away.
And then you're right back where you started anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But not everybody's like that. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
man.
guarantee if you walk up with offering a drink, you got a beer in your hand, then you're a lot more likely to strike up a conversation. And if you do see me and my brothers out in Beaufort, South Carolina, PBR is the drink of choice.
PBR, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, so I actually got a funny story about that too. So I was in two chapters before I transferred to the McGinty chapter in Beaufort. My first meeting with the group, we call it church. So once a month we get together and we talk about like whatever things we got going on, things that need to be brought up. And so Huey, actually, the brother that we do the Kappa event in, his
Yeah.
neighbor, we had a refrigerator in the garage in the compound. And I saw like I came from first California, where all the brothers wanted to drink Modelo or Dos Equis.
Yeah.
Then I went to Virginia, where my brother Goat, his drink was every time he went up to the bar, PBR and a shot of Fireball every time.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and especially, I spent most of my adult life at that point was growing up in California,
Yeah.
and breweries galore, all kinds of like craft brews and stuff like that. And so, like, a part of me was kind of like, PBR, really? But I like to drink for cheap. So at the time, I like Budweiser. So Huey's at the fridge, and I see they have a case of Budweiser. He's like, "You want a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll take a Budweiser. That's cool." And he just gives me a look, and I was like, "The fuck? Like, I can't drink Budweiser? What's wrong with that?" So he hands it to me, and then all of a sudden, he starts just handing to everybody else PBRs from out of the fridge. Doesn't ask anybody else if they want anything.
Yeah.
Starts handing out PBRs, and that's what everybody drinks. And I was like, "Well, shit, man! Like, if there was a requirement to drink, a little bit of Pabst out here, all you had to do is say something." So that's why actually you see it on my shirt, like
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
Pabst logo for McGinty chapter. There are other clubs in the Beaufort area that have told us specifically that they keep PBRs in the fridge just for when we come to events.
really.
Yeah, we have
So what you're saying is PBR needs to sponsor the Leatherneck Motorcycle Club. I think that's what I'm hearing there.
hey, if somebody with PBR is listening to this and they want to help out with some donations and charities, I'm open. Hit me up.
Nice. All right. Well, if I ever get in contact with somebody at PBR, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna mention your name, and we'll get you guys sponsored. That's the way it would work there.
Yeah, same. If I ever get a contact with what was it, Jack Daniels?
Oh,
Or
Jim Beam.
no, Jim Beam. Jim
Don't get me
Beam.
wrong. I like Jack Daniels too, but Jim Beam is
Jim
usually
Beam. Yep,
yeah.
that's what it is. If I ever have a contact with Jim Beam, I'll definitely point them your way.
I do appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with a little bit. In fact, I'm drinking Jim Beam Black tonight. So
I'm
there you
uh
go.
I'm actually drinking. So I finished my bottle. This is I I never heard the name of it, but I think it's called Fior. And it's like a blended Scotch. And it's actually a veteran-owned business. Um,
Really?
yeah, so I got this bottle from doing a birthday ball down in Miami for I think it was US Southcom.
Where's the brewery, or I say brewery? Was it called a brewery? I don't know. Uh,
Uh,
where are they made?
it says produced in and bottled in Scotland.
In Scotland.
Yeah,
Really?
that's what it says. I've actually, I've had this bottle since was it November when I did that birthday ball, and I've never actually
Yeah.
read it. I've just been drinking it slowly.
But you said it's a veteran-owned business or whatever that they.
Yeah. Founded by Major Eric. Oh Jesus, I'm gonna butcher this. Yeah, I'll just show it.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
you
put
can
it
see
up.
it.
There you go.
Yeah. It's a very long name. But yeah, USMC retired. Uh,
That's really cool. I'll have
yeah,
to try and reach out to him and get him on the podcast. That'd
yeah.
be
From what I understand, they actually donated a bottle for every table at the birthday ball. Uh,
no kidding. And this was
yeah,
Southcom, you said?
yeah. And instead of doing like a champagne toast at the birthday ball, they wanted to do it with their
Scott.
scotch.
Very
And yeah,
nice.
so at the time, we were on a dry trip. So I ended up keeping the bottle and saving it for when I was no longer TAD.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I got to see if I can find it somewhere. But
That's really cool. Shoot me his information. I'd like to reach out to him. It'd be cool
oh,
to
yeah.
have him on the podcast. You said he was a Marine major?
Yeah, it says Marine Major, you retired.
Wow. That's really cool. Man, you never know what you're going to get out of sitting down with somebody else and just having a conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty wild. I like
yeah,
it.
it is.
But hey,
Yeah.
man, we're hitting about that time. We're coming close to it if we haven't already hit it. Probably already have. But uh, before we close out, is there anything that you would like to say? The floor is yours to uh, talk about whatever it is you'd like to talk about. Last shot, parting shot. Boom, go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's any Marines out there, got out of the service and they're looking for a group of dudes to hang out with, they're looking for that brotherhood. Um, I mean, social media, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, and just search Leathernecks MC. Um, if you're even unsure, you can reach out to me. I had to make sure, just because I always forget. At Cutlass LMCI is my handle on Instagram.
Say it
So
one.
Cutlass LMCI, CUTLESS LMCI. Cutlass is my road name, and that's a story for another time. Uh, but yeah, I mean, support your local motorcycle clubs, no matter who they are, no matter what you may think. I guarantee if they're asking for donations, it is going to a fantastic cause. And if it's not something to help out kids like Toys for Tots or like what we do with Kappa, it's more than likely going towards a veterans cause. I'd say probably at least 75% of members of motorcycle clubs these days are all veterans. I've realized that from going to all these events and stuff. So yeah, I mean, support your local motorcycle community, I guess is the best thing I can say to wrap it up.
Awesome. Hey man, I like what you got. And I agree. Support you guys. Your club specifically doing some fantastic stuff down there. And that's a great cause that that I personally am, invested in, when it comes to foster care, when it comes to children in the system and things of that nature. So I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. So kudos to you guys. I owe you something. If I can donate something, I'm going to send it down your way, because that's a great cause that you guys are doing, and I appreciate you for doing it.
I appreciate it, man. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I know you already gave me my time, but one more shameless plug. September 7th is going to be our capper event this year. And we will also be doing a gun raffle. I'll be posting on my social media. Anybody from the McGinty chapter is going to have tickets for it. And come down if you can make it down from wherever you guys are at. I know you guys are going to be traveling and doing all kinds
They
of cool
will be.
stuff.
When did you say it was?
September 7th.
September 7th?
Yep. Rain or shine. We're actually just started talking about the planning for it and all that stuff. It's going to be another poker run style thing. Tailgaters is going to be the final stop. They've already committed to having a band for us. Uh,
Nice.
Huge cookout. It's basically going to be a ginormous party with a bunch of prizes and cool stuff to win. And even if you can't make it out, but you want to just donate to a cool cause, then yeah, reach out to the McGinty chapter Leathernecks, and we will gladly take donations. And 100% of the proceeds go straight back to Kappa to help out the kids.
That's awesome, man. No, that's a great cause. And I encourage anybody out there, especially if you're in that Beaufort, South Carolina area, and you're looking for an organization to support. The Leathernecks Motorcycle Club is that place to go. I think they're doing some great things. But hey, Daniel Rizzo, man, thanks for being on this show. I appreciate it. I know we served together a couple of times, and I always enjoyed sitting and chatting with you and stuff like that. So I appreciate the time
Oh yeah,
that you were able to dedicate to this. So thanks for doing that, man.
of course. Yeah, glad we finally got this together, and hopefully we can do it again in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. And let me know about in September too. I want to try and help you guys out as much as I can. So be sure and hit me up on that. And maybe I'll be able to come out for that, and maybe we can do a podcast or something. That'd be really cool.
Hey, maybe we can do like a live broadcast or something. That'd be dope.
Heck yeah, man. I'm all about it, dude. Whatever we can do to spread the love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely I'll shoot you all the information once we have everything together.
Awesome. All right. Hey, to everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. We got to hear some amazing things about a club that is doing some amazing stuff for the community. And thanks to Daniel Rizzo for coming on and sharing some of his stuff from the organization, excuse me, the motorcycle club. But for all the veterans out there, if you're struggling, you're having a hard time, you're thinking about hurting yourself, anything like that, please dial 988. You can press option 1. They'll be able to put you in contact with somebody that's going to help you out. Again, that's 988, press option 1. If you don't feel like talking on the phone, you'd rather text or something like that, you can always dial or text 838-255. Again, that's 838-255. Same type of thing. Somebody's going to be able to help you out. And if you're very young and you like to chat online, I know I don't necessarily like to do that, but I know there's a lot of people out there that do. You can always go to veteranscrisisline.net and then click on that chat icon. Same type of thing. Somebody's going to be there to help you out, point you in the right direction, and get you some help. But I got to tell you, one veteran's life loss is one too many. So please, please, please reach out. I know I care about you. I know Daniel cares about you. And I know that all the other veterans out there care about you. So please, please, please reach out for help. With that, Daniel, once again, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate your time and awesome, awesome stuff from your club. Kudos to you guys. And I want to help you guys out as much as I can in the future.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it was great hanging out with you again. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. To everybody out there, enjoy what you got going on. Try to support your local motorcycle club. But as always, stay motivated. Change your socks.